Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's inaugural Baby Unicorn Stocks. It's an exciting event. We're going to bring you 3 companies, ground floor opportunities, maybe even pre-ground floor. These are sort of everybody knows what a unicorn is, right? A unicorn is it's a company that goes to $1 billion valuation in the venture capital world. I think in the microcap world, we could define a unicorn as something that goes to really a $500 million valuation or even $1 billion. But a lot of the companies you're going to be meeting today are all under 50 million valuation. So it's really a 10x from here if they become a unicorn. And again, we've brought you so far in the last 12 months, 8 stocks that are up already 10x, between 10x and 50x. And today we're going to get some really early ground floor opportunities to see if these could be potentially our next, our next super stocks or what have you. The main part of this event is watch the presentations, ask your questions, ask the CEOs your questions, and let us know. There's going to be a poll, there's going to be a survey afterwards. Give us your opinion, let us know. It's confidential. Let us know what you think. Are these potential unicorns or are these dogs? Confidential, so you tell us, and we'll share the results later. So with that said, let's meet. Okay, our next exciting presenter, our next potential baby unicorn is Nuran Wireless, NUR on the CSE, and of course we have the symbol below, NRRWF. I'm really excited about what this company is doing because they're in one of the hottest market opportunities on the planet right now. There's actually 2 things: hot market opportunity and really interesting technology. So with that said, Francis, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to come back for the Q&A in about 15 minutes.
Beautiful. So what do you see on the screen now? Only the presentation, or you see you?
Yeah, I see the presentation. You're ready to go.
Okay, perfecto.
Take it away.
Thank you very much. So before I start, I will just run a quick video here. Quick video that describes what we're all about from now on. So let's go.
Oh, it's not, Francis. It's not. The sound is not on there.
So the audio is not good. Okay. Anyway, so I'll do it myself instead.
Yeah.
Good. So who we are? Easy. We are a specialized company in telecommunication, bringing mobile and broadband connectivity to the unconnected. So the company is specialized into radio access network equipment, and we've developed the best suited product for the emerging markets. Our mission is to connect the unconnected, and we are extremely active in different parts of the world. Hold on, go here. Connecting the next billion, easy. There's 4 billion people on the planet without broadband connectivity, so internet connectivity. Out of this 4 billion, there's 1 billion without any phone coverage. And this is what our company is specialized in. So the opportunity is huge. You have 8 billion people living on this planet, and we need to connect 4 billion of those. And the Nuran has developed its core technology along the lines of connecting the next billion with the lowest total cost of ownership possible. With the growing demand and the capital expenditure from the mobile network being done mainly in urban areas and increasing from 3G to 4G to 5G, the rural market is left alone, not being served by the mobile network operator, hence the need for a company like Nuran to come invest, deploy, operate a network to connect those unconnected people. So just out of today from GSMA, the group handling all mobile network operator across the globe, they say that there's 30,000 sites, so 30,000 telecom towers to be built in Africa only within just by 2025. And so we are in that race for now. The growing demand for access needs has been surveyed by GSMA as well. Only 23% has access, 59% wants it and wants it now. And this is where Nuran comes in play. So key objective, we want to be an agent of change. So for so long, these rural community has been left without coverage. We are now in 2021. It's not normal. It's a basic need. The previous presenter was talking about basic need in the food business. Telecommunication has become one of these basic needs. And Nuran is all about putting together the right conditions to make it work. Having the lowest cost wireless infrastructure, the lowest power consumption device in the industry, small form factor, easy for installation, small footprint, reducing land usage. So just to give you an example, you'll see some pictures. Sometimes we go and deploy sites even with a 1 meter by 1 meter footprint on the ground. So it's as easy as this. We can also deploy those telecom equipment and telecom sites having the lowest operational expense on the market with an optimized backhauling meaning the transmission from the site to the core network, using in 95, 96, 97% of the time using satellite. And since everybody knows that the telephone running on satellite is quite expensive on a monthly basis, that the company has developed and implemented in its solution a bandwidth optimization software that allow you to reduce by 10 times typical GSM, or I would say 2G call on a network. Robust equipment allowing you to reduce the number of site visits for preemptive or curative maintenance. So the overall objective is to increase coverage, connect as many people as possible with the less expensive operating expense. Why Nuran? Nuran has the proper technology to deploy in those areas. We come from 30 years of experience of developing products for others. So we came out with a solution that is purposely built for this environment. We've also built a business model that has the flexibility that is exactly what the mobile network operator are looking after, because if they want to see these communities succeed, connected, they need players that have this flexibility in terms of the business model, in terms of the financing, in terms of low TCO and everything. So we are this player. It's built and deployed for a pay-as-you-grow type of structure. So we will have the ability to turn 2G and then 3G and then 4G with the lowest power consumption on the planet in terms of equipment. One thing that is important, our typical base station, we call it, it's a radio, you will see it later in the presentation, consumes the equivalent of a light bulb, the 60-watt light bulb. All of this to provide coverage for a population ranging between, I would say, 3,000 people up to 5,000 people, and up to 6 or 7 kilometers. So this is how good the product is at this stage, and a lot of people want to compare to it. The next product generation will be capable of increasing, or I would say upgrading in terms of technology, moving from 2G, 3G to 4G. We all know that giving basic coverage is also important using 2G. Why? Because if you remember the flip phones from the old days, our battery was lasting like 6, 7, or 8 days. So you need to have a technology that is perfectly suited for those type of environment. So power is key in these sectors. How we did that? Traditional telecom site usually range between, I would say, $100,000 to $150,000 for the same type of environment. The equipment used from the big OEMs like the Huawei, Ericsson, Nokia, and everything typically consume between 2 and 4 kilowatts. So these sites need to be powered by diesel generator and sometimes as a backup source, some solar panel and batteries. That creates a yearly OPEX of $19,000 to generate a yearly of $40,000. And at the end of the day, ending up with an EBITDA around 18%. What we are capable of doing is to build the same type of structure, build the same type of structure or similar type of structure for $25,000, consuming 120 watt total, including the satellite connectivity, all running on solar, so it's green energy. OPEX are extremely low due to the reduction of the bandwidth utilization and the reduction of commissioning, operational, and maintenance costs, generating $20,000 revenue yearly for an EBITDA of 58%, because we, of course, do not have the same type of overhead as a large MNO. We more act as an extended arm of the mobile network operator. So in our lives, today's life, if you are covered by Verizon or by Sprint or TELUS or Bell in Canada, so Nuran becomes the extended arm of that network. So we operate under the operator brand, and we usually extend their coverage within the country in rural area. Technology that has been developed and deployed as of today are the two products on the left, the GSM light cell, it's a 2G network, and the OC2G that has been jointly developed and supported by Facebook, part of our connection with the telecom infra project that has been created by Facebook a couple of years ago. We were one of the first member of that group, of that working group, and this product has been launched and is currently being used in multiple countries, multiple sites in Africa by other vendors, and it was extremely well received by the mobile network operator, consuming only 14 watts. So it's really amazing what we've been able to do with, and that allow us, in this case, to sometimes deploy a site for less than $15,000 total, including shipping costs and installation and everything. The new baby that has been launched in June is the Lightcell XG. This product will be capable of doing 2G, 3G, and 4G at the same time. So any combination of those three technology, and the XG2 will also be covering 5G, should the demand be there. The company has reset its, have done a major shift in 2020, 2021 to become a network as a service company. Of course, having this wonderful product with nobody to pay for it, it's not ideal. So what the demand was coming from the mobile network operator was to have this financing capability and this operational and maintenance capability as well, all in one. So we have created this network as a service, which is a fully managed service, fully compliant to the service level agreement of the operator, because our solution is, of course, carrier grade. It preserved their capital for priority investment like over-the-top mobile money, all this kind of thing. And it also serves a different purpose. Could be used for maritime service, government network, enterprise network, mobile network operator. So the flexibility and the scalability of this business model allow us also to have a more predictable, more organized way of seeing the revenue popping in, whereas when you are an equipment business, it's kind of a one-off. So you sell a bunch of product, you maintain them for a couple of years, and then next sell, next sell, next sell. In that case, we're just growing the pipeline, growing the network, growing our assets, so growing the value for our shareholders and our clients. We've defined multiple product categories. I told you that I will show you a couple of examples of telecom tower that are across Africa. This one here is in Gabon. This one here is in Zambia. This one here is in Cameroon, if I recall correctly, whereas this one is in Asia Pacific. So we've defined a couple of what we call site categories: ultralight, light, and then rural site, covering multiple configuration, having the ability to be upgraded from a single TRX. It doesn't give you much in terms of information, but it's a single antenna up to 6 antennas. So it's a scalable type system that could be used to grow with the population of the village. And you can also grow the standard to move from 2G to 3G. We are extremely well positioned for growth, having those important contracts that we signed with Orange for Cameroon and DRC. We recently announced this week a memorandum of understanding. This is usually the sales cycle. You start with memorandum of understanding that leads you to contracts. It's just that we signed those MOUs to make sure that these guys are engaged, wants to see an end result, the end result being a contract, a long-term contract, where both parties agree to work hand in hand together to get those people connected in the various countries where we are after. Our technology, as I said, is carrier grade. We have a strong track record of commercial deployment. Deploying just the technology itself usually takes a couple of days, if not 2 weeks, to interconnect with the mobile network operator. Building a site typically takes between 3 days and 10 days, depending on the site category. So you see that we've managed to reduce our cost, to make sure that we are reducing our operational expenditure as well to get the best EBITDA possible, and giving the development banks of this world the ability to have our project finance, having a risk-reduced type of environment. Our target is to build 10,000 sites within the next 5 years. We have two contracts in our pocket now for 2,200 sites. We are currently in an RFP process with Orange for up to 1,700 sites in 4 countries. The response to these RFP have been delayed due to the vacation period. Of course, Europe, they take the summer in terms of vacation. Everything is stopped, not progressing. We were expecting answers in June, but they will obviously occur beginning of September or throughout the rest of fall timeframe. We have a growing pipeline for 2,000 site plus. We've recently announced MOU now with 500 site, leading with contracts that will pave the way to 2,700 sites. So you see that organic growth will just pave the way to build more sites, build our assets, build our structure, and have a more predictable, sustainable type of business growth. And if you just look at Africa, there's 50-something country total. There's millions of people to be connected there. As I was showing in earlier slides, I was talking about 30,000 towers to be built. Orange has 11 additional countries to cover. So basically, we are extremely well structured, organized, and focused to get that job done. And 10,000 sites within 5 years, when we did, contractually speaking, 2,200 plus those 500 that will be closed shortly. So we are 1/4, 25% done on the 10,000 sites in 5 years. All of those sites generating $20,000 average each. So we are looking for a fast growing type company. So if you just look, I just wanted to throw some numbers here. If you just look at the Cameroon and DRC contract, once fully deployed, they will be generating $50 million Canadian with close to 60% EBITDA, 45% EBITDA, sorry, 60% profit after site rentals. So it's a wonderful business. We came along the hard way. We had a tough learning curve coming up with this product, but the shift we've done to become a network as a service oriented company has changed the whole picture and the whole scope of the company. Now, a bit of numbers in terms of share metrics. The stock was trading earlier today at $2.01. Here is the 52-week range. We now have 28.1 million shares outstanding. There's only $745,000 left in our book in terms of debt. $56.5 million market cap, and a couple million of warrants and options for a fully diluted, sorry, the number is wrong here, but it's higher than this. I think it's 35. So bottom line, we have a well-structured company. It's pretty well organized. There's a lot of warrants that could be exercised also to bring more capital, but we would like to reduce dilution as much as possible, whereas the future financing of the assets that we will be putting in Africa and across the globe will be most likely be supported financially by debt. We are working with a large organization like the international development banks, local commercial banks. We're also discussing with what I call the Quebec branch, talking with all the big guys like CDP, BDC, EDC, every single acronyms that you will see in Canada to support exportation from Quebec or Canadian industry. We're all discussing with these guys. Our goal is to raise 100 million to finance those assets to be put everywhere across the globe, but mainly in Africa for now. The market presence, you see it here. We've had some connections or some networks being deployed in Canada. Our equipment is doing roadside coverage in Connecticut. Yeah, Connecticut, if I recall correctly. That was provided by one of our partnered coverage co. But look, the footprint is establishing itself in Africa. We are working with large company like MTN, Orange, Vodafone, and also Airtel to come. And there's, of course, more to come because the current pipeline is growing. We are talking in today's show about the capabilities of a company to grow 10x. Those are projections in terms of number of sites. Of course, I can't really put like the numbers that we will reach, but do your own math. So this year we're shooting for 172 sites to be deployed. Next year, 1492, and growing till 10,000. If we're not growing fast enough, we might also be acquiring company if we need to, but the goal is to be that 10,000 site company. Just to give you a quick example, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Orange has currently 1,700 sites. They've built that over the last 10, 20 years. Ourselves, we need to deploy 2,000. They will double their tower inventory within 40 months. So this is what we are capable of. We've brought the proper team to develop that business and to maintain and sustain that business. They know the field. They know it's not ideal condition like doing it in the middle of, I would say, a field here close to roadside coverage on the highway. So Cameroon or DRC or every country in Africa are tough conditions. So you need to have a solution that is well suited for those type of environments. So, and bottom line, this is it, my friend Jack. So I'm pretty much done with that.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Yeah, you can close out the screen or stop screen share.
Yes. Hold on. So where do I stop?
So the good news is we have I think we had 59% voted and 80% are saying that Nuran has the 10x upside potential. This is actually the best, you're getting the highest rating so far today. Well, actually the best. So we had 3 companies. You get the biggest result of the day. So Francis, so you're really in a very exciting space. This is really, Africa, this is really the last growth frontier. I mean, this is the last big opportunity. It's, Asia pretty much is already more or less developed. You have small pockets, but Africa is the big deal. I know we had a company that I interviewed about a year ago. It was called Jumia, which is it New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ? JMIA was a symbol, and they're trading, so it's an e-commerce, they're like the Amazon of Africa. They're trading at, I think, a 3 billion market cap, so 10x revenues, but they're dependent. I mean, their customers are mostly in the big cities in Africa, like in Nigeria, so the big areas. So the thing that really that they're missing is, the rural areas, and I think this is kind of where you have this massive, greenfield opportunity of building out this system. So question I have, Bo was asking a question. You're generating, just to clarify, you're generating revenues from who? Is it from the local telecom companies, the retail customer? How do you make money?
It's actually we're sharing the revenue coming from the user. So every user will generate maybe between $2 and $6, $7 revenue. By the way, you've seen your telephone bill, right? It's way higher than that. So when I was telling earlier that you need to have the lowest total cost of ownership possible, you need to not only survive, but to have good financials with those small numbers. And we usually share certain percentage goes to Orange, for example, the other percentage goes to us. And since we're the one investing, the highest percentage goes to Nuran. And we injected something in our business model, which it's called a minimum guaranteed amount. And typically that minimum guaranteed amount covers all expenses. So if we only charge this to the operator, we're break even. But it's everything on top that will be bringing this massive EBITDA and revenue growth, if I may say it like this. The revenue is coming directly from the users.
Okay, Enio is asking, how can you compete with Google or Elon Musk's plan to deploy low internet?
Yeah, so it's a good thing. It has been, I would say, on everybody's lips for now. We are using satellite supplier as well to bring our coverage or to bring our signal back to the mobile network data center. So satellite will be what Elon Musk and what the SpaceX guys will do over time, or the OneWeb will bring over time is the ability for the satellite business to reduce their price dramatically to help us being more effective moving forward. And not only this, those satellite will also need like ground coverage, bringing internet like an ISP, for example, Jack, could work, but can they afford the device that goes along with this? I doubt it. So it will take a couple of years until we see a direct impact of OneWeb or Mr. Musk push to get the people connected.
Okay, so Francis, so what's the path? So, to get to that, let's say 500 million, 1 billion market after being the unicorn, what is the path for Nuran to get to that unicorn status?
So you see the statistics that I was putting at the end of the presentation, the last slide. We're talking about 10,000 sites that might generate $20,000 each yearly. So it gives you a $200 million company just by this. Revenue, exact. So the fact that we are in the recurring revenue space, the fact that we are in a space where it's usually valued higher than this, I think this is how you can potentially get to $1 billion valuation, but the market will tell if they like what we do or if we don't. Sometimes you think that the news will just blow the market price, and out of a sudden, no, it goes straight up the opposite way. So you never know, Jack, right? But my expectation, 200 million is the basis or the base of what we want to achieve. I think we are more in the range of 270 up to $300 million in revenue just for this. It's 50% EBITDA. So the multiplier, I don't control what the multiplier will be, but between you and me, this is how we could get there. And the 10,000, I think, will be overachieved between you and me, because we're starting with Africa, but Latin America and APAC is coming shortly too.
Okay, and how long would it take you to get to, let's say, 50 million revenue run rate? When can you get to 50?
I think 2 years, 2.5 years.
2 years. So basically, so I think that the 50 million would get you that 10x revenue multiple plus, maybe even higher. The market's forward looking. So I think the kind of the path being like that 10x from here for the stock is really that, as you roll out the sites, and as you get closer to this, having these sites to get to that 50 million revenue, I think that we could see the stock kind of climb that ladder. So you mostly were talking about. So you're going into Latin America and parts of Asia. Like this is going to be rural areas, right?
As well, yes. So still the demand is there, but we needed to have our XG technology ready before we go there, because you know that some of the operator in Asia Pacific as well as in the Americas have turned off their 2G network. So you need to have this flexibility to run 2G, 3G, or 4G on the same site. The ARPU in Latin America and Asia Pacific, ARPU being average revenue per user, by the way, in those regions is higher. It's not at the $2 or $3 level. So it's mostly like $5 or $10 type of ARPU. So we can easily survive on 3G and 4G on satellite. So that's not a problem. So, but we are starting to preach and to discuss with Latin American operator, Telcel, that you potentially know of, Carlos Slim, in Mexico, that drives the Claro brand across Latin America. We happen to have pretty tight connections with their CTOs. So we're opening up the market for Latin America and APAC. We've already started in APAC in Marshall Island. It's one of the announcements we did like 19 months ago.
Okay, so Remy is asking, what level of revenue do you foresee as needing to get to cash flow positive?
Cash flow positive, it's 10 million, 12 million dollars of revenue with the 50% EBITDA. That's sufficient to be cash flow positive.
Okay, when can you get to that 10 million?
We will get to that level of 10 million, I would say, within 16 months starting now.
Okay, let's see, what other questions do we have here? Scott is asking, what is your opinion on Nuran's market cap relative to the deals you already have in place?
You want a straight answer? It's way lower than what I would expect. Seriously. We have announced 2,200 sites, contractually speaking, 500 in memorandum of understanding, leading to contracts. We now have the financing to support that. We now have the right ammunition to raise more capital from a debt side to deploy those sites. I don't get why we are at $2 today. I really don't get it, but I do not control that, unfortunately.
Okay, so in the business you're in, I mean, essentially you don't need, to grow the business, you don't need to do dilutive equity financing. I mean, there's plenty of debt financing for the telecom space. This is like one of the most lender friendly spaces there is.
It's a really good point. By the way, the condition in which we are operating make it a little bit difficult to finance. Okay, so the sophistication of the banks, it needs to be pretty high. So that's why we're in the deep discussion with development banks. We would like to avoid as much as possible additional dilution. We have created a structure with Nuran Corp, having a continental subsidiary in Africa, and then Africa with the different branches across the country, and bring equity partner at the subsidiary levels. So this is what we would like to do, as well as bringing like a commercial bank in country to kick off the projects, and the large development banks to finance the whole picture. So this is what Jim, Chris, and the rest of the financing team have been working on. We're in discussion with European Investment Bank, IFC, World Bank, AFDB, African Development Bank, TDB, whatever. So we're extremely active. They love our business model. They love our the way we have structured our contract with our friend operator. But it's just like risk management. They would like to see equity raised at the parent level. Check, we did. They would like to see some site live to validate that our assumptions are right. And by the way, those are not assumptions. It's real data coming from Orange. This is the data we've used to build our business case. So bottom line, it's just like we need to tick all boxes, and I think we're going to get there in the next couple of months, and then we will never look behind, and we will have the proper ammunition to deploy, and have this organic growth rapidly coming to 10,000 sites contractually speaking, so we can reach our objective.
Francis, last question. What percentage of your business is going to be Africa? Like 3 years from now, would you say?
3 years from now, minimum 80%.
80%, yes. I mean, it's really, I mean, I look at Nuran as essentially a pure play on the African
emerging markets.
So, and it is really, it's interesting because right now institutions or investors, you know, this is, again, it's kind of the next, you know, the last frontier, and this is kind of the next big emerging growth market story. It's kind of like where, you know, investors were looking at China stocks maybe 15 years ago. You know, India was kind of in fashion, you know, maybe 10 years ago or coming, you know, these things are coming and going out of fashion, you know. So in Africa, I mean, like we saw with the success of Jumia and some of the others, that this is gonna be the next thing. And there's really not a lot of stocks. There's really not a lot of pure plays, especially in the micro cap world. There's really no pure plays, technology plays, especially on Africa. So yeah, that's
the sweet spot to make it happen. Seriously.
Okay, so last question: what kind of news flow can investors expect to see from Nuran, you know, next 60 days?
Contracts, MOU, distribution contracts. This is the type of news flow they will see in the next 90 days. We've just announced in the last 2 weeks, like over 500 sites under MOU, so memorandum of understanding, and we expect it to grow. We are in discussion with the large telcos, with the tier 2 telcos, and with the growing demand of this rural connectivity and the mobile money, which is another thing that is going to be on everybody's lips. It's creating a new economy, so the demand is there. You will see more from us. We are marketing. I'm marketing. I like to do marketing, so I will provide as much insight as possible to our shareholders, to our clients. We've also enabled or ignite a Nuran wireless on a YouTube channel. So I'm putting together like corporate updates every now and then. So we will be transparent, and we'll give you as much as possible. And the goal for us is to create value for our shareholder, clients, and employees, and have people connected as much as possible.
Okay, Francis, on that note, I want to thank you, and you know, hopefully our investors will, you know, stay tuned to the story in the coming weeks.
Of course. I count on you to spread the news as well, Jack.
Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.